Are we live? What's up, everybody? Here for some Q&A, and I'm going to try and stay awake because I am not sleeping the last 2 nights for some reason. But we are here, and we are excited, me and Daniel, that is, behind the cameras, to help you guys do some Q&A. We're actually going to run out to a rental that I closed on, that I purchased, my newest rental here in Layton, Utah. We're going to run out and look at that. I actually was hoping to call my GC. I should have called her before we did this, actually, to try and line that up. So go ahead and chime in with any questions that y'all might have. We're going to do some Q&A. If I broke down my, did I talk about my rental last time I went live yesterday? So yesterday I went live. I wanted to go live again today and add more value because I know I had more questions that we didn't ultimately get to that people had. And I'm sure new people will join us live. So go ahead and ask your questions. Also chime in where y'all are from. I would love that. I'm going to turn this down. If not, I'm going to keep getting pinged here. So chime in where you're from, how much real estate experience you have, and then whatever questions you have. Let me share why I use real estate wholesaling as the business that I chose. So I walked away from building a business for a decade. I built a window cleaning business, sat down with my business partner on March 2nd, which is my birthday. That's how I remember, because my memory's that of a goldfish. 2017. And I sat down and I said, I quit. I quit washing windows. I had never done a real estate wholesale deal, but I told him I was going to go be a full-time wholesaler. I said, I'm sick of the industry. I'm sick of building this business. I don't want to do it anymore. I'd like you to cash me out. If not, that's okay. I'm done. And anyways, ultimately, I wanted to buy rentals. I wanted passive freedom. I wanted the dream that most of y'all have, right? It was to have my cake and eat it too in life. I want to be there with my family, go on vacations, give stability to my beautiful children and my wife. And I saw real estate as that opportunity, but I didn't have the cash, didn't have the debt to income ratios. It's a bunch of rentals and to get debt. So I looked at a bunch of different options and I found wholesaling. Wholesaling is where you find deeply discounted properties and you pass it to an investor for finder's fee. Like, I could do that. It's just marketing and sales. It's hard work. That's all that is. And I wasn't afraid of hard work, but I needed a place, a space of a business model that makes a lot of money. But besides making a lot of money, because I can make a lot of money in different places with a lot of hard work, of course. But I wanted a place that I could work hard, make a lot of money. But the best part of real estate wholesaling was I was finding investment deals. So if I could make a bunch of money and then also have a business that produces deeply discounted properties that I could cherry pick for rentals, I was like, that makes the most sense. Like, why would I not be in this space? So, and I'm doing exactly what I dreamed of since that time of learning what wholesaling was years ago. What I'm doing is I'm cherry picking my favorite properties in the exact areas that I want them at the discounted prices that I want. So I bought this rental for I think our purchase price was $310,000. And it's going to cost me, I'm hoping it doesn't cost me more than $25,000. So I'm going to be into this thing $335,000. And it's going to be worth about $350,000. Or sorry, $450,000. When I buy this property, my net worth is going to go up by 6 figures. How long is it going to take you with your 401k and your retirement packages to increase your net worth or your retirement by 6 figures, right? And the best part is I control the asset. It's not going to go crazy up and down like some kind of mutual fund package that your 401k allows you to buy into. And even if it does go up and down, every month I'm getting rent payments, and those rent payments are paying down what I owe on the property, meaning I have more net worth. And then even when I'm, paid off the property, I have all that rent income and I still own the asset. The asset pays me, not like stocks do. To me, it's a no-brainer. And the coolest part is I can, turn around and sell that property, right? And then I could take all the equity as down payments for and cherry pick 2 and just double, if not triple that net worth immediately upon purchase because I have a surplus of opportunities. I could cherry pick as many as I want. I could buy way more rentals, but I spend too much time coaching. I'm busy with this. And so I'm only actually buying 3 rentals this year. I bought this office complex, or not complex, but this office space, and then I bought this Layton rental, and I'm buying one more, and then spending my time building out these businesses, and then obviously wholesaling the rest. We're going to do about $2 million in total wholesale fees and buying and selling properties as well. So pretty insane. A ton of freedom that has come from this. So we've got people from Boston. Go ahead and chime in where you guys are from, what experience you have, and some questions you might have. Please do so I can help and support you guys. Just wanted to start that off with some value. So you're from Florida. Have closing multiple deals gotten you more attention, and do people know you from it? Um, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the question. Because you said you're from. Oh wait, that's actually a different person. So you're from Florida. I think that's what I understand. And then has closing multiple deals. So me closing multiple deals, has it gotten me attention, and do people know me from it? Um, yeah, like I was at the CrossFit gym yesterday actually, and they're like, "Oh, we heard your radio ad." And I a lot of social media content, and people know me from that. And the cool thing about that too is I actually get a lot of referrals. Like we just did a six-figure. We do quite a few referral deals where people know someone or have a friend or family or someone that we bought a house from in the past bring us another deal. We just did a six-figure assignment fee, meaning I found a discounted house and passed it to an investor for over $100,000, guys. Absolutely crazy. And that was a referral from someone that knew us. Um, but yeah, the more success that you have, the more opportunities and your reputation grows. And for example, in the beginning of my real estate journey, I had to work really hard to build my cash buyers list. So the people that buy the deals from me, and like when I'd send out an email, I had to call and text and make sure that they saw that. Now I blast an email, and people talk about me at the Real Estate Investors Association meetings and clubs, and they reach out to my company to get on my email list. They're coming to me now because they know that there's opportunities in my business. I even have a kid named Dustin that offered to come work for free for me, and I didn't think he'd do it, so I said, "Sure." He's from Alabama. He's freaking crushing it, by the way. So he came in, started working. I didn't pay him. I didn't pay him the first day just to see, if he would actually like come to work and everything, see if he was really that motivated to learn. He did, and of course, I paid him, but he's doing amazing things. I just promoted him to be our newest acquisition manager for some of our virtual land investing that we're doing actually in Florida. Amazing kid. So there's a lot of cool things where people have been attracted to work in my business, and people that are attracted to work with my business and for my business because of, yes, the social media content, but also the other things. So yeah, the more you work, the harder you work, the more it'll compound and build on itself. There's a great book called The Compound Effect that kind of explains the phenomenon of compound interest or compounding your efforts, right? It gives examples not only with money or business, but it also gives it with your health, right? The person that doesn't take care of them doesn't take care of themselves, right? They put on a pound and then 2 pounds and 4 pounds, and it's not a big deal until a lot of the sicknesses kick in. Your knees come apart, you get diabetes, and you go from not the best shape to basically dead, and really quality of life tanks. And it's the opposite is true. If you consistently make the right efforts in the right directions in the areas of your life that are meaningful to you, they'll compound on themselves. So that kind of long-winded that question, but yeah, it's definitely made a difference. Um, Best way to acquire leads. I do driving for dollars. Best way. Some people will ask, well, driving for dollars requires you go drive around, find the ugly houses. Why not just do the easy thing and buy a list? Go to propstream.com and buy a list of homeowners that maybe filed for an eviction, or maybe filed a probate, meaning they're inheriting the property. And the reason I say that's not the best, can you make money off of it? Sure. Do I make money off of it? Yeah. But it's the most competitive list because they're easy to get. The things that are easier in life, right? There's no barrier of entry. There's everyone can do it. And so, if you really want to be successful and avoid your competition, you want to get a list of property owners that have the highest chances of wanting to sell, like buying a list or driving for dollars because they're the ugly houses, and then um, pick the list that's hardest to get because there's less competition on it, which means you'll make more money, right? And spend less money to make that money. So it's why I do it. It's why all my stuff's branded driving for dollars mastery. Um, Someone said you currently using Google Ads. I want to know how you're doing with your Google Ads. Are you running your Google Ads? You have a digital marketing company running your Google Ads. What's your cost per click? What's your cost per lead? So write this down. I want to know cost per click, cost per lead, and what your ratio is contract or closed deal to lead. How many leads it takes to get a closed deal, and then how much is your average deal size? Are you profitable? And maybe you're just starting out and you don't have any of those numbers, and that's okay. One thing that I found is your Google ads or your cost per click or PPC, right? Um, the cost the cost per lead is so high that most people can't afford it. And then the other problem too is it's competitive, right? They usually search more than one company, and you're dealing with competition. And so, if you're not extremely good at negotiating, if you don't really have your negotiations and your systems and processes around that buttoned down, you're going to just get your pants kicked. It's going to be rough. Um, we're focusing on growing our SEO. We did an SEO deal, our first one actually a few months ago. We do radio. We do all sorts of different stuff, right? But our bread and butter, our main thing is driving for dollars. Uh, let's see. Where are the best sites to find cash buyers? Ooh, finding cash buyers. So I'm not going to say there's a website, right? There's not like a website to find cash buyers. There's different things that people do. I'll kind of give you some things that a lot of people like, especially if you're finding something unique. Like I have a student today that has a gas station, an abandoned gas station that they're trying to wholesale. They're trying to find a cash buyer for this opportunity, and it's a unique situation. I have another student that has a large, high development opportunity. It's an old single family home on a big lot, and it's you want to turn that off. Sorry, my phone was going off here. We still live. So I have this other one where it's a multi-family basically opportunity on the piece of land. So it's a development project, right? And trying to find a buyer for that. And if you're just looking for flippers, if you're looking for someone that wants to buy single family houses to fix them up or buy them as rentals, just a simple single families, I'm going to give you a better way for that. But if you're trying to find a unique buyer, there's a couple things that you can do. You can go to the multiple listing services, the MLS. It's the general database of all bought and sold properties. Um, and this will have this in every state. So it, there's something called a disclosure and non-disclosure state. What that means is certain states make public information of all the buy and sell data on every property. So you could go to like Zillow or Redfin.com in Florida, for example, and see the history of any house, what it was listed for, what it sold for, how many days it was listed on market. You can see the history of the buying and selling information. Where in Utah, that doesn't exist on Zillow. So if you're in a disclosure state, you could do this on Zillow, and you don't need you don't necessarily need, the MLS. If you're in a non-disclosure state like Utah, you need the MLS, and you could find similar properties that have sold in the last, 6 months, 12 months, year, 2 years, and figure out who bought them. Who is the buyer, right? Who's on title now? And you could reach out to those people. You can also do this on propstream.com. I don't normally promote PropStream. They've asked me to promote him. I don't promote him because I don't really use it. There's uses for it. I just don't use it. I don't need to. But you could pull that data and you could find particular buyers that specialize in something a little bit more unique. But when it comes to single family buyers, small multifamily buyers, the fastest way is actually Facebook. So I'm going to explain what I do and how I do it on Facebook. So if you get into your Facebook personal profile and you go under groups, Facebook groups, right? And then you go to groups, and then in the search bar, once you're in that section of Facebook, hope you guys are taking notes. You go to, search groups and search for groups and just search real estate investing and then your city. And then from there, real estate investing and then your state. And you're going to find a ton of groups. And then the next one may be real estate wholesaling and then the groups in the city and the states. Why do you do that? You're going to find a ton of groups everywhere across the country. And you're going to request, most of them will probably be private groups you have to be accepted in. You're going to request to join all of them, big and small. The bigger ones are going to have more information. Once you get added into these Facebook groups, you're going to be able to go to those Facebook groups. And every Facebook group has a search bar as well. And you're going to search key terms. And if anyone's ever typed that word in a post, in a comment, anywhere in the feed of that Facebook group, it'll pop it up. So you can search cash buyer. You can search title company. You can search attorney. You can search deal, opportunity, wholesale, cash buyers, any of those things you can pull up. For example, another wholesaler that posted a deal 3 months ago, you can see the deal, what address, where it is, so you know where you can go drive for dollars because there's deals over there. If there's one, there's more, right? But you can also see who commented below. You can see who commented. A lot of times they're dropping their emails. I'm a cash buyer interested in that area, and they'll drop their email. Shoot them a DM. I saw you're interested in buying properties. Are you a flipper or are you buy and hold investor? Send them that. Right? And then grab their email and upload it to your Excel spreadsheet, right? But you can quickly build a very large cash buyers list. I mean, we're talking hundreds of people in an hour. That's my favorite and fastest and free way. Free's good. I like free. Hopefully that helps. That was a long-winded answer and a ton of value that I just gave in that. Yes, beautiful. I'm glad you said thank you. You're welcome. Hey, Zach, is Zillow still a good way to do virtual wholesaling? I don't love virtual wholesaling. I'll say this. Who do we take advice from? Right? We take advice from people that we want to trade places with, and we're doing what we're trying to accomplish. So if your goal is to do virtual wholesaling, find a virtual wholesaler that's crushing it. And more importantly, that his students are crushing it. And I've been in this space and I'm part of mastermind groups. I paid 10 grand a month to be a part of the family. Sorry, not per month. That's a lot per month, right? It's about $1,000 a month to be a part of the family mastermind. There's about 400 real estate investors and influencers and stuff in this mastermind group. We meet up a couple times a year. And anyways, I don't know any of them. Or sorry, I shouldn't say I don't know any of them. I know them all. I don't know any virtual wholesaling coaches right now that are getting results themselves and more importantly, getting results for their students. I don't. And there's a handful of reasons for that. I'm not saying that there's not virtual wholesalers doing well. I just don't know any coaches or influencers or someone that could give you really good advice on this. Because like I said, you want to take advice from someone that's doing it. There's a couple roadblocks with virtual wholesaling versus doing it where you live. when you go meet with a seller, it's a lot easier to build a relationship and really uncover the problems and the obstacles, and then be able to have their trust and confidence when you give them a solution, how you can help them and get them through the problem, that they're going to sign a contract with you. It just makes it so much harder to negotiate when you're doing it over the phone. Can it be done? Sure. Have we done deals where seller lives out of state and we're doing the deal here and we're doing virtual? I guess we're doing virtual wholesaling, but it's not really because we're doing just land. Um, we're just doing land deals and in Florida. And this is different because I'm actually buying them and then turning around and selling them. So we're getting them at 40, 50 cents on the dollar. Could I wholesale them? Yes, but I'd rather buy them because I'm buying them from anywhere between, literally 5 grand to, I haven't bought one close to 100 grand, probably like 60 grand is my most expensive one, I think. No, way less than that. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm basically doubling my money, but it's a small portion of money. It's just way easier to buy it and list on the MLS. Um, so it's a little bit different business model than actual traditional wholesaling. Um, so I'm going to say like it's better to do it where you live, but remember, I don't do virtual wholesaling, so I'm going to give you advice not to do virtual wholesaling because I don't know how to do it in a very efficient way because I haven't done it, right? And I would refer you to someone, but I don't know anybody that really is good. So hopefully that makes sense. But my question for you, and I'd like you to answer this. You're on TikTok. This is for Aaron. Why don't you do wholesaling where you live? Where do you live? Why not do it where you live? Because maybe I could coach you and help you understand how important it would be and how successful you really can be where you live. Maybe you have some limiting beliefs on being able to be successful where you live because you think it's too competitive. And I'd actually like to ask anyone in the audience here, do any of you feel like things are too competitive where you guys live to be successful? Do you feel like there's too much competition to be successful? Type yes. Type yes if you feel like it's too competitive. Daniel, tell me if there's people chiming in yes or not. Maybe everyone's like, no, it can be done. I'd be shocked though. We getting any yeses? Is it too competitive? No, no yeses? Okay, maybe I won't talk about that then. Maybe I'll come back to that. Type yes if you feel like it's too competitive. I'm going to go to the next question. John said, hey, I'm from Utah. I have no experience in real estate, still just learning and growing my knowledge. Welcome, John. Swing by my office in Layton if you'd like to. Happy to say hi to you. When is the best time to get an LLC? So when you ask me questions like this kind of falls in the category of, well, getting an LLC, to my understanding and how I look at this, getting an LLC is for two reasons. I'm going to use some lingo and then I'll explain. It's for asset protection and it's for tax purposes. Okay. So what is asset protection? So you get an LLC because it's like a different person. It's a different entity is what they call it. So for example, if I punch and hurt someone, are they going to sue my sister? No, right? Has nothing to do with her. It's me. I'm going to be in trouble. And so if you have a rental, for example, that's in your personal name and someone gets hurt and something happens and it's an accident, but somehow insurance company, the law says that it was part of neglect. Batteries weren't working on the CO2 detector. There wasn't a proper railing. The stairs were too tall. That's why she fell or he fell. And you get sued. Well, now you're getting sued personally. If it was owned under an LLC, that LLC would be getting sued and whatever that LLC is worth, right? So if you have your personal name and your personal name owns a bunch of other things, well, now that exposes you up to, well, you could get sued for all this other stuff. And if they see like an attorney, attorneys aren't stupid. They may not take a client if the person that they want to sue for damages doesn't have anything, right? I've had a lot of people do horrible things to me. Had a guy break into one of my rentals and flood the place and then live in the other side of the duplex. We caught him. I had the police arrest him. I knew who he was, but he was homeless. He didn't have anything. I could 1000% sue him. What I think stupid is the law doesn't do anything for me other than say, yeah, you can pay us money to sue him. They literally let him out of jail the next day. It was, anyways, I don't want to get too angry here. Basically, I could have sued him and won and had all these damages, 20 something $1,000 worth of damages, and pay my attorney's fees to sue him. And he would have been responsible for paying me back. And, but he didn't have any money. So how do you collect? Because the courts say, yeah, you win. You got to go collect from his paycheck. You got to go garnish his wages, but you don't get anything, right? So asset protection is the first thing, right? Making sure that you don't have too much potential liability of getting sued and losing what you're building, right? The next reason you have an LLC is for tax purposes. So I'll give you an example of how I'm using an LLC to save myself money on taxes. I set up an LLC it's taxed as and files as what's called an S corp. Uh, it's a type of entity, right? A type of entity is like a corporation or a limited liability company, an LLC, a limited partnership. There's different types of entities that are taxed differently and they're structured differently. And so the reason I do an LLC taxed as an S corp, it allows me to pay myself as a W-2 income, and that's taxed higher, right? Than the profits I pay myself out of my company. So it's not small, but the salary I pay myself is much less than all the profit. So if I had a normal traditional LLC or just paid myself directly without an LLC and filed my taxes with my social, right, my social security number, I would pay a higher tax amount. And this allows me to pay less in taxes legally. So like I said, it's for tax purposes as well as that. So if you don't really have money, if you're like, oh, I'm going to start wholesaling, people are like, oh, I'm going to go out and get my first deal. I'm going to go get my LLC. Don't go get your LLC. It's like, why? What do you get your LLC for? You don't have a business because you don't have money. To me, what is a business? How do you know that you've started a business? A lot of people are like, well, I got my logo. I started my business. That's not starting a business. I started a business this week. Guess what? I collected money on it. I really did. I started a business this week. I'm not announcing it yet. I will. I'm excited about this one. We're growing it, brought some partners on. But how do I know I get a business? I had my first client pay me. I have money coming in, right? That is the start of a business, right? When you build a business, you got to have money coming in, because what consists totally of a business? Well, you have the tax strategies and you have the liability protection and, making sure you're doing things legally and making sure you have employees and making sure you have core processes. But without money coming in, you have nothing, right? So that's the first thing. All right, last question. Here we go. Last question, guys. And then stay tuned, by the way, as I go to answer this last question. I am going to be going over to the new rental that I mentioned, creating some content around that. Pretty excited to share some of the details, do the walkthrough, share some of that stuff on TikTok and some of these other places. So if you're not following me and subscribe, please make sure you do so. And here we go. Last question. I'm from Sacramento, California. What percentage of ARV should I sell in my market? Any help would be great. Appreciated. Thank you for doing this. You are very welcome. I'm glad I can help you. Percentage of ARV. So when we're trying to do real estate wholesaling or flipping, what do we offer our sellers? How do we make money, right? So first off, we need to understand what ARV means, after repair value. So let's say we have this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's a complete nightmare, right? Carpets are torn up, holes in the walls, front doors kicked in, right? It's really bad. Well, After repair value is if it was in the best condition and sold for the top dollar. How do you find that? You find that by going to Zillow or the multiple listing services, the MLS, and finding what a similar house sold for in the last handful of months. And it doesn't not just any house, right? It's got to be within about a 10-year time frame of year built, right? The year built has to be within 10 years. The square footage has to be very close. I try and get within 100 square feet. I try and get within the same exact bedrooms and bathrooms, same size of garage, same lot size, right? Within a very close proximity, preferably under a half a mile. Also, I preferably want it to be in the same subdivision, same school district, right? If it's in a different school, sometimes that's not as important, but same school district, same county, right? Some of those things will affect values big time, right? Because it's what people want or what people don't want as much as others. And so you got to figure out what the property could possibly sell for at its top dollar. Let's say this 3 bedroom, 2 bath. For easy numbers, I'm going to say 100,000. It's going to sell for a lot more than that in Sacramento, right? A 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Well, let's say it sells for $100,000. Other influencers, coaches will just tell you offer, 60% of ARV, offer 50% of ARV, offer 70% of ARV. That's not enough, right? Because a house that a house that needs no remodel work, I'll offer much higher than that because I can just close on it and list it. And multifamily properties is different as well. And major remodels where they're stripped down to the studs, where it's a huge amount of work financially, but also time frame. It's going to be a lot of work to get it there and time to get there. The most risk with flipping houses is the longer it takes you to fix it up, the more chance you have of the market shifting and values dropping. And that's where you're going to really lose your shorts as a flipper. So the bigger projects, they want to make sure they have a bigger spread on how much that property is worth. So I use a more complex equation. Okay, I'm going to get pretty deep here, but this is because I always get crap from people when I express this equation. They're like, "Why don't you just do 70% of after repair value?" And this is why. Okay, so I wanted to explain it in detail. Because it annoys me when I offer like a massive amount of value and go into it, and then people get annoyed because it's more complicated than a percentage. So I do after repair value, and I times that by point. Take a pen and paper here. It's going to get a little bit complicated. After repair value times that by 0.92. Okay. What that's doing, it's getting rid of 8%. So 100,000 times 0.92, I think is what? 92,000? I think. I don't know, man. I might look really stupid right now. 92,000. Then you're going to subtract whatever the rehab costs are, roughly, to get it to that point, right? Well, first off, let me explain the 8%. Why do we get rid of 8%? Well, if you or someone else is buying this property for a flip, they have to turn around and sell it. So if it sells for 100,000 fixed up, well, you got to pay a real estate agent. You probably have some money fees. You got some closing costs. So 8% is a good number, right? If your hard money costs are higher, your length of how long you're going to hold the property is longer, so you have more interest. Maybe you should do 0.9%, not 0.92, right? So once you get rid of that 8%, that gets you down to $92,000, right? Then you subtract your rehab costs. Say rehab costs are 20 grand. How do you figure out rehab costs? Ask your flipper. They'll give you a little spreadsheet. Okay. And a lot of times it's like this much for a kitchen, this much for a bathroom, this much per square feet for paint, this much per square feet for flooring, or they just go this price per square foot for cosmetics. That includes paint, carpet, doors, trim, right? They have like a basic, like this needs all new, lipstick is what they call it. All right. So once you figure out rehab, let's say it's $20,000, we subtract that. So now we're down to what is that? $72,000. Well, now there's got to be profits for the flipper. So if you're going to flip it, how much do you want to make? Most flip minimum of 20 grand. So at least 20 grand. But flippers want to make more than 20 grand if there's more risk, if there's more remodel, If it's a higher price point property, they want to make more just because it's higher risk. When the markets shift, the highest price point or the higher valued houses, the more high end houses will drop in value before the low end houses because there's more demand for the low end housing than the high end housing. So there's a couple different variables on what the flipper wants to make and why, right? If the remodel's big, if there's more risk, if it takes more time, they're going to want more money. Rule of thumb is 10% of after repair value to the flipper and a minimum of 20 grand, right? And it might be more if it's more remodel. That's the rule of thumb. You can go back and this will be live and shared on my YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and like rewatch this next time or like get this, go do that. Okay. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. So that gets down to 72,000 for the remodel. Let's say 20 grand to the flipper. That's $52,000 is your break even number if you want to wholesale, right? Because if the flipper is willing to make 20 grand, well, the flipper could walk in and say, I'd pay 52,000. You as the wholesaler, you now have to negotiate it even lower than that, right? So however lower you go from there is how much you make. I try and make 20% of the after repair value. So on a $100,000 repair or $100,000 ARV, I want to make like 10 grand, right? So I'm going to try and get it for $42,000 is my goal and then push it out at $52,000. My average deal size here in Utah is a little over $40,000 per assignment fee, which is crazy. But my after repair values are much higher than somewhere like in the Midwest, right? Where houses or Illinois or something like that, where houses are, on average 200 grand. And in here, they're worth much, much, much more. So our average deal size is much more, but also our cost per deal is much more. So, my goal though is to make at least a 4x on my marketing dollars. What does a 4x on marketing dollars that mean? That means if I spent $25,000 on marketing, I want to make 100 grand, right? On wholesale fees. So I have enough room to pay my employees to do all the work, to go on the appointments and to find buyers. And I get to keep 30 to 50% of all the money coming in. So that's why I want to make at least 4x on my marketing spend. And that's why I use driving for dollars. It's allowed me to do much more than a 4x. I get a 10x on a lot of my marketing dollars, meaning I spend $1, I make 10. I spend $100,000 on marketing, I make $1 million. That leaves a ton of space to pay an incredible team and also produce a lot of profits to be able to cherry pick rentals and build passive income and have that freedom that we're all looking for. So if y'all want to build that kind of freedom, if you want to learn how to do that, if you want my one-on-one support, I definitely suggest booking a call. There's a link in the bio. We have an application process where you can fill out some information and then get on our calendar. We'll be reaching out to you guys and see if we can help you, see if I'm the right fit to coach you. Everyone, I appreciate you so much. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening with your families. God bless. We'll see you guys soon.